So I've been in this place where I've really wanted to know and understand, well, more than knowing and understanding, I want to be bought into and fully living out my own story. And what I mean by that is, over my life, especially over the past 5 to 7 years, as I've really gotten connected with people who are meant to walk out certain, I'm gonna say, assignments and mandates that God has for my life. I know that sounds like this really big woo thing, maybe, but what I really mean is what's in the book about Alicia. God has a book about every single one of us. Jesus said, it's in one of the Psalms, and then Jesus reiterates it in the Gospels. He says, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do your will, O God. Jesus said, there is a book regarding my life and all that I'm meant to accomplish. And in that book, it says I'm going to do God's will. And so similarly, we too have a book. There's a book about my life. And I would receive these prophetic words, and I'd be, in times of just prayer and talking with God about life, and he would show me things. And then recently I've even started to bring those things back to him and lay them down and say, this is what I wanted. This is what I want. This is how I feel about it. But just in case I'm off, just in case I'm creating, I'm an imaginative person. I'm a daydreamer. And sometimes I can dream up scenarios that, based off of something the Lord told me, that are not necessarily what's supposed to happen. And so with one thing in particular, in fact, adoption and fostering children, that has been something that little by little has been cultivated in my heart since my teens, maybe. That is a worthy desire and honorable thing to do, because children are so precious. And I want to do that one day. And then it occurred to me, it may not be the way I think it will. Like, I've thought a lot of things that the Lord said, hey, you're going to do this, or this is going to happen in your life. And it 100% has gone, it still happened what the Lord wanted, but exactly opposite. And so I thought, I'm going to lay this down before you, Lord. And he said, hey, thank you for your honor, but take that thing right back up. Very, very, very quickly and clearly. He said, no, daughter, this is what I've called you to. This is what is on your heart, because it's what I put there. I want this for you. So all that to say, with that in mind, this whole time of like, God, what am I really here to do? I know what I'm made for. I'm made for you in relationship with you. And from that place, do the work of the kingdom. As a child of the King, I am a princess, a queen, if you will, growing, and there's responsibility. I remember being in the grocery store. I'm not a magazine person, but I saw a magazine article about Queen Elizabeth, and so I just started to flip through it, and it was so interesting because it should have, but it didn't occur to me that when she was young, before she was queen, she had these different assignments as, I would say, like an ambassador of her nation, where she served in governmental functions, growing and maturing into before she ever took that position as a queen. I didn't realize that. So all that to say, I'm like, what's my specific role? What are we here to do? I've been getting some really amazing confirmations about things that have been happening over my lifetime that I didn't understand at the time. And honestly, I started to feel a little discouraged, like, I've been living all of these years, and what have I done with my life? It was more from like, what am I actually accomplishing? What I didn't know is that I had been on a journey that God had set me on since I was 12. At that time, I was like coming into the fulfillment of this training and developing that he had me doing for what was coming next in my life, and I didn't even know it. So I had this beautiful experience with the Lord a couple days ago where he was like, I set in your future and your destiny to do this very special thing for me and with me. And you knew it and you wanted to do it, but it was never the time yet. And you didn't understand the delay. I don't know if you guys have ever had that thing. Maybe it's a business opportunity, starting a school, getting a particular degree, entering into a profession, getting married. I don't know what it is, but you know God said this is for you. It's a dream in your heart. And I was like, ugh, I thought I failed. Thought I messed up, done, just stepped outside of the Lord's will, had been too immature, too slow, too this, too that, and missed it. And the Lord said, I gave you a checklist of things to do to prepare for this. And you checked off everything on the list. And in fact, in that moment, I felt this moment of seriousness. And I was like, oh, what did I do wrong? And he's like, you didn't do anything wrong. You did something very right. So here's the thing. Without knowing it, I have been on this journey of preparation with God to start something for, at the time it was for the future, and the future is now. I've been saying recently, like, I feel like my life is happening to me. I'm starting to live the things that God intended. And it's because without knowing it, I have been on this journey of growth and preparation. And the Lord has basically been helping me to see, like, don't despise the stuff that you've walked through, because that is what qualifies you for what I'm bringing you into. I believe there's several different journeys and lots of levels of the journey. So it doesn't mean that there's just one point that you're supposed to get to in your life, and that's it. For every point that we reach where we're like, this is it, I've achieved this, and now I'm ready to start this thing. And then you start that thing, whatever it is, buying your first house, getting the degree, and starting a new career. When you do that and you get it going and you're like, I've mastered it, there's something beyond that. And for me, I've just been learning to treasure my story and own my story, because without it, I'm not qualified for what God called me to do. there are so many mishaps, so many missed opportunities, so many moments where I'm like, I botched it. The whole point is, your story is beautiful. And it's worth living your own story and sharing it, because the world needs it. Somebody in this world needs it. And like you're saying, the world needs it. Maybe it's not like all of the billions of people in the world who are going to hear it, but it could be one or two people, or hundreds of people, or thousands, or maybe even millions of people who are affected, blessed, transformed, encouraged, empowered, rescued by you living out your story. And then they in turn around and bless, empower, rescue, transform someone else's life. That does pass forward. Whatever your history is, if you bring your history to God, number one, it's already in his hands. And sometimes he's just waiting on us to give him permission to make something of it. And if you've already done that, I guarantee you, if you are trusting him or trying to trust him, if you are bringing yourself to connect with God and giving him permission to move and be in your life and center your life around him, and giving him permission to make you one who 100%, the story that you're living is a journey. The testing, the trials, the triumphs, all of that story is going to be a witness. It is a witness right now that is going to bless people and make the difference that you want to make. I don't know one person who doesn't want to make a difference in someone's life. I've never met them. Even if they feel like defeated, like they can't give up because they can't, all that kind of thing. I've never met a person who didn't want to make a difference. And your story is important. It's valuable. And living out your journey is going to make a difference, a good difference, an impactful difference, a world-changing difference in someone's life. So the moral of the story is, own your journey, cherish your journey, and don't be afraid to let God take it and make it more. Your story, your own story, is worth living and cherishing, because it qualifies you when you go through your developing process and whatever God's developing you in. All of the history of that is what gives you the strength, the grit, the understanding, knowledge, the wisdom that you need in order to fulfill the great thing that you're called to fulfill. And you are called to something great, and don't forget it. Thank you so much for letting me share with you guys. Love hanging out, chatting with you, and I'll see you in the next video.